Hi, I'm Dana and I tried really hard to set up my whole mic system that I've got. It's not working today. I'm already having an awful day. This entire side of my face and neck is in burning pain, but I need to sort this before I can go out and buy things to try and make it stop being in burning pain. So I'm already having a day and I can't deal with it. I can't. I'm sorry. If there's pops and crackles and other things, I know I had to edit this. Please just don't tell me. I'm trying my best. So with that being said, I want to have a whinge and a moan and a complain today. And as much as I've said that, I feel like a fair amount of the comments are going to be like, well, that's the way the world works, just deal with it. I'm like, I know, I'm just observing and having my little whinge and complain, and then I have no choice but to move on and deal with it, okay? So you've already read the title, and I'm going to go into more depth because it's probably going to be quite vague. My current idea for the title is I'm not living in the world I expected to grow up into, which is quite long. I should probably come up with something better. I probably won't. And as with most things on my channel, I'm aware that this is a thing for everybody, you know? At least most people, at least a lot of people. You know, like when I was in school I would have started school in 2002 and I finished high school in 2013. And I was very much given the idea of, we're never going to have any genocides again. We're never going to have any sort of concentration camp ever again. We're fixing the climate crisis. There's not going to be climate change. You know, I was very much pumped full of this idea of like, we're the future. We're building the future. It's going to be so great. And I think that's the messaging that a lot of people got, whether autistic or not. And I don't know how many people really took it to heart like I did and really was like, yeah, Greta Thunberg, you know, like everything's going to change, everything's going to be great. And then we've watched political disaster after political disaster after global disaster after recession for like my entire life. But that's not really what I want to focus on. I want to focus on it from a very quite limited and very autistic perspective, essentially, because I mean it in the way of like, I feel like I spent so much of my younger years watching as much TV as I did and reading books in the way that I did, and just there were so many like events and like especially in school, I remember just sitting around a lot of the time just sort of observing people and watching how people interacted, and I feel like all of it was going into me sort of building this personality and getting ready to be an adult. Like my parents very much made me very aware that once I turned 18 I was a grown up, and that's when you go out into the world on your own and they're not there to like support me and look after me anymore. And as it happened, I ended up doing that at 16 and they meant it. So from a very early age I felt like I was like coupling together my personality and using all of these little bits of ways that I could perceive adult life in some way to try to build an idea of the world that I would eventually be existing in. And I feel like some of that is rooted in not really having a particularly like strong social imagination. Like I feel like a lot of my anxiety stems from the fact that I don't have social imagination, and therapists haven't understood it because I'm not anxious about what's going to happen to me when I step out of my front door. It's the fear of the unknown. It's the fact that I cannot imagine what's going to happen to me when I step out of the front door. And it very much felt like as a child, I could not imagine being an adult. Even now, I can't imagine being like 5 years older than I am. And I can remember being a child, but I can't really imagine being a child. It's a bit weird. But I also grew up in a family where I never felt like I fitted in. Like, I never felt like I fitted in with the people around me whatsoever. So I was very like, okay, I don't think it's really, you know, and this was very subconscious, but I was very like, there's not really that much point perceiving the life that's happening around me because this is not the life I want to be living once I'm an adult. So I think that was also why I very much went into TV and movies and watched loads and loads of stuff to try and figure out what it would be like. And I will give thank God that I was watching like BBC dramas and like Emmerdale and Coronation Street and Hollyoaks. Like if I had been watching American TV shows and been expecting that kind of future, like I think I would be very depressed right now. But from the stuff that I was watching, you know, I do feel like I was giving myself a realistic expectation for the world, but it was for the world in 2006, 2005, 2004, you know, and obviously time changes things progress with time, things do not remain the same. So now that I am an adult and I'm like the age that a lot of the people were in the TV shows that I was watching as a child, I feel so confused by like everything around me and the ways in which people interact and like the hobbies and the things that people do and the things that people are interested in and the trends that we have. All of it is not what I expected, you know? And this is where it's like, I'm really not sure if this is something that everyone experiences or if I have some weird little stuck in the past, stuck in the 2000s BBC drama sort of brain. But even doing like the most simple of day-to-day things, you know, like when I go to get the train, when I go to the supermarket, it is just so different, and in a way that I don't feel like it's autism friendly, you know, like everywhere is brighter, there are more ads everywhere. Half the time the ads are screens now, so the ads are bright and moving, and just it feels like the whole world is so much more overstimulating and there's so much more to it. And I didn't have the chance to prepare myself for any of it, you know? And I get that like you often don't have the chance to prepare for change. Like I said, I know that like time may change me but I can't change time, blah blah blah, you know, all of that. But I just so often find myself in these positions where I'm trying to like especially the time that I really think about this, and some of the times that I've talked about it to people, is when I've gone out for like a club night and I've gotten all dressed up and I've gotten there and I realise that I do not look like any of the other fucking women there. And not in like I have the wrong face or the wrong body type, it is in the stuff that I wear. But I also like, I don't know how to, like, I look at the items they wear and I don't like them for me. I don't want to wear it. I don't understand why they're buying it. I don't, like, even when I've tried to look like those people, when I've tried to do those outfits and do that hair and do that makeup and whatever else, I don't fucking look like them, like even when I'm trying to, you know? And I do feel like some level of that is just that my fashion inspiration like very much stems from the 80s. That's not so much like that like, I want to say it's more of a conscious choice, but I did also spend like 6 years in a relationship where I desperately wanted to be like the perfect normal girl for him, and I still couldn't fucking dress up like that and look like the other girls did, you know? But I also, like, I've gone out with friends, I've gone out with people my age, I've gone out to like events where I'm expecting to meet other people my age, but 9 times out of 10 I find myself out in the smoking area with some fella between the ages of like 45 and 55. He's probably got a kid somewhere around my age, or like a niece, or like someone, you know, like. That's the thing, is like whenever this has happened and I've been out with friends, they've come over and been like, are you okay, Dana? Why are you talking to this man? What's going on? And like, he's being completely chill and nice and we're having like a genuinely just good conversation. Like there's no like, it doesn't feel like he's into me or he wants me or anything. It just feels like he's come for a night out and he's a bit bored. And I was also on a night out and a bit bored, and we're talking and it's interesting and it's good. But I feel like that happens, and I so often find it easiest to like converse and have conversations and socialise with people who are like middle-aged, is because they're the people I was watching, you know? When I was like 7 watching TV, it was like 28-year-old people, and now they're like 40, 45, 50, and I'm the 28-year-old people. But I learnt to interact from the things that were like trying to replicate that time, you know? Like, television was trying to be like real life, so that was what I learned, and it obviously doesn't always nail it and hit it exactly, and it romanticises and glamorises lots of things. I'm not saying that I got like a fully rounded perception of how it was to be an adult in 2005 from watching TV, but I feel like I got enough of it that it is the people that television, like that era of TV, was trying to replicate and trying to like represent, and that's what I've learned. And now it's 73,000 times easier for me to interact with random middle-aged people than it is with people my age, with my peers, so on and so forth. But at the same time, I haven't had like the life experiences of those people. I'm not in the same phase of life as them. Like, they're not people I can tend to build like genuine friendships and relationships with. And that's why as well a lot of the conversations are just them telling me stories of their youth, and it's one of those things where like it's fine, like we're mutually enjoying it. They're clearly enjoying getting to tell like the stories of their peak years, and I'm enjoying hearing them, because that's the shit I was expecting to live. I thought I was gonna have some like fucking human traffic space type of experience, you know? And it's one of the areas where I honestly, like, when it comes to that type of social interaction, as much as I do feel like I learned it from TV set up north in the early noughties. So yeah, people that were doing most of their like social interaction up north in the early noughties are the people that I find easiest to interact with. Like the mask, and I will say, I feel like I'm masking for any social interaction. It's just that that's the mask that like slips on, and it still feels like me. I can still say like what I think, I can still give my opinions. It's still me. It's just the sort of friendlier, more upbeat, ready for the conversation me, you know? Whereas like a lot of the other masks that I've had to use over my years, they take up a lot more energy, and I physically, like, I can't do them anymore. Like, that's the thing, as well as masking always just sort of like fell on. I am doing it now, and that doesn't happen anymore. I have to like really intentionally fucking like try to do it, and it didn't work in the fucking first place, to be honest with you, but it really doesn't work now. And it's the type of thing where like I know that most of the time that's not the appropriate, or like it's not the mask that's gonna get the best reaction from people like around my age, give or take a few years, you know? But I want to do a little segue here, because I've been seeing a lot about the Gen Z stare on TikTok, and I had this a little while ago when I was in Tesco, and there's a very specific brand of popcorn that I like to get, and there was this girl that was stood in front of it. She was mid-20s maybe, like early to mid-20s, and I was like, oh sorry, I need to get that popcorn behind you, could you move over please? Like, she was just stood there on her phone, and she looked at me and just continued to look at me. I thought like maybe she just didn't hear me, you know, like I was getting her attention more than anything. So I said it again, and she continued to just stare at me. And I was like, I'm annoyed now, but I don't want to be a bitch, you know, like maybe she's hard of hearing, maybe, like, I don't know, she could have something going on. So I'm just gonna ask again politely. So I was like, really sorry, I was just wondering if you could move out of the way, because I want to get that popcorn that's behind you. You know, like, gave her all the information. And she continued to just stare at me. And it's those types of situations where I'm like, am I doing something wrong? I don't know what the fuck's going on here. Like, I'm talking to you like you're a person, and you're looking at me like I'm a horse in a supermarket. Like you don't understand why I'm here. Like, and I've had this, like, not to that degree, not to that, like, randomness, but I've had that situation so many times where I'm trying to talk to someone that's my age, or trying to like interact and socialise with someone that's somewhere around my age, and they're just sort of like staring at me. So I find myself like talking and talking and talking. I barely even know what I'm fucking saying, but they're not fucking saying anything. They're just sitting there. They're just sitting there. And like, I know I feel like it's going off topic almost, but it's not. Because I know that some level of it is you're just not going to have the same types of awkward interactions in TV shows. You know, like, I know we get the shows like Fleabag or whatever that intentionally do it. But in like, I don't know, see, because I'm saying that, but like, I feel like the kinds of things that I watch, like Human Traffic, when fucking the guy out of, is he in The Walking Dead, when he comes in and Jip's like, we've made eye contact, now I'm going to have to say hi to him, and we're going to have to pretend to be pals, but then just part ways. You know, like, it feels like even the awkward moments just aren't what they fucking used to be. I don't understand what's happening to, like, that's the thing, is like, I also, like, as much as I'm saying I don't understand what's happening to the world, I do feel like a huge amount of it, and more so the point of this video than that, is just that I did not fucking prepare for this world whatsoever. And I felt like I was spending my entire childhood and teen years preparing to be an adult and trying to get it all together and trying to like compile as much information as possible so that I'd be able to do it properly. And I did it, and all this information I gathered and got together is completely fucking useless, and it doesn't help me at all, and I have no fucking clue what I'm doing. And I'm like, oh, so I could have spent my childhood like having fun and engaging in nice things, and instead I was trying to figure out what the fuck I'm gonna do when I grow up, and I still didn't fucking manage it. So yeah, I'm very aware that this has been one hell of a ramble, but I've had this video idea in mind for like the longest time, and it's one that I'd really like to know if it's other people that feel this way too. Like, I know that also a lot of you are, I don't want to be like, and loads of you guys are old, aren't you? But like a lot of you, like you say in the comments that a lot of you guys are in your like 40s and 50s and stuff. Did you feel this way? Is this like an average, like, obviously I everything's a generalization, like I know that everybody actually experiences things differently, but did some people also feel this like growing up in the 50s and 60s and then getting to the 90s and be like, whoa, I did not fucking get ready for this? Like, I get that I'm part of the generation that like suddenly had mobile phones, you can take them anywhere, and they're not these big brick things anymore, and now they're smartphones. Like, I get that I was a generation that's been part of like a lot of change, who have had like 60 fucking recessions and all that kind of thing, but I don't know. I feel like it's more like, as much as like there's world issues, I do feel like I hope you understand where I'm coming from, as it being like the autistic perspective and social imagination and the preparation for like being an adult, because you know that you're not functioning in the way that other people are, so you're probably gonna need a bit of extra help, so you'd better start preparing now. But time changes everything, so it was all just fucking useless. Like, I really thought I'd be going to like job interviews for like cool things, and coming home and my housemate would be like, oh, did not go well, oh, girl power. I'm like, it's not like that. I thought I'd live in a little village somewhere. I might still get to do that, to be fair. I think it might boil down to like there's not much community anymore, and that's what I was seeing in TV shows and stuff. I think it boils down to a lot of things. I think that maybe, I don't think I have overthought. I think it's a valid thing for me to be thinking about, because it's the way that I feel. I'm done now. I just want to finish my last sip of tea and show you Autism and then go. Oh my god, how do I show my cards? Hey! He's a baby. Oh, I'm gonna take that wire off you actually. He's a baby. He's a baby. He's a little baby cat. I don't know if he's enjoying this. I won't lie to you. He prefers head strokes. It's me that likes the belly rubs. It's me that likes your belly. Is he gonna leave? Or I just... You're an itchy boy. Itchy little man. Whoever you are, wherever you are, I hope you're having a lovely morning, evening, day, afternoon, month, year, and I will see you again in a couple of days.